to Finnegan. Promising crack for Falkirk. Finnegan's cross, Stephen Thompson! Falkirk have the lead after a quarter of an hour.
Determined, you lose your little player. And it's in, it's a goal from Gilmour. Jimmy Gilmour has scored for Falkirk. Going out, breaking and holding inside. The James in the middle of this, and he equalised! Falkirk!
Delivery is good, there's Hagan. Down the cross, he scored! Falkirk take the lead! Form Irish striker Anthony Stokes on loan from Arsenal with the goal. An inkling this might be match point. Agony for the young Dutchman as he scarfed it well wide and the Falkirk celebrations could begin.
What is happening, Bairns? Welcome to In the KM, One South Standard's point of view on all things navy blue. As always, I am your host Ray. Today's video, we will be discussing our trip to Celtic Park tomorrow, where Falkirk will take on Celtic in the Premier Sports League Cup. Seriously, can we just stick with just calling it a Scottish League Cup? We've got to go into all this sponsorship bollocks. Anyway, I digress a wee bit. First off, just want to say my apologies for the delay in getting this video up. It was my intention to get this video uploaded on Thursday night, but I've been coping with illness this whole week. I've been really under the weather. I've tried to delay things as long as I could. Still feel like death, but I really wanted to just get this video up, and other news as well. As I'm sure some of you will have seen, Luke Graham has joined us on loan from Dundee. I believe that's until the end of the season. He was on loan at Montrose last season and he plays as centre half. Other news also is that the away game to Dunfermline has been moved to the 27th of December. It's a Friday for TV. So, going into this game tomorrow, got some stats and facts for you all, and I'm not going to lie, Bairns, some of this doesn't read well, some of this is quite grim, but I'll share it with you anyway. So, 20 years ago today, so as of the Saturday, 21st of September 2024, 20 years ago, we went to Celtic Park and got absolutely bleached 8-1. Fucking hope that's no an omen, by the way. And in terms of how Celtic look going into this game, Celtic have played 7 games so far this season. I've won every single game and I've conceded just 2 goals. In terms of how we go into this game, in terms of our record against Celtic, we are unfortunately winless in our last 12 attempts against Celtic. However, we did manage a couple of draws in the 09-10 season. Mad when you think about it, when we ended up getting relegated that season, yet we took 4 points off of Celtic. Crazy. In terms of travel for tomorrow, I've seen a lot of discourse on social media about what's the best way to get to Celtic Park, which train line should I use. So there's 2 different lines that you can use, right? So you can use the line that runs through Central Station, which will get you to Dalmarnock train station. And as far as I'm aware, I believe that's the closest in terms of distance for walking to get to Celtic Park. However, I don't see many Falkirk supporters using this line because, you know, we're all going to pile into Queen Street. I don't see many people then having to walk down to Central Station. You can use that station, but in all likelihood it's going to be filled with Celtic supporters. Your best bet is going to be getting the train into Queen Street and then going to the lower level and then jumping on a train to Belgrove. I think as well you can go as far as Carntyne. I don't think there's too much of a difference. It still works out about 25 to 30 minutes walk, but in all likelihood that's where you're going to get the majority of other Falkirk supporters on there. That's not to say it will only still be full of Celtic supporters as well, but I'd imagine that's where the majority of us would be going. That's where I'll be going as well. Even though I stay in Ayrshire and going through Central would be the quickest way for me, I'd rather be amongst my own kind, so I will be making the journey up to Queen Street. And in terms of how Falkirk look going into this game, so John McGlynn had a bit of information on how Cole is looking going into this game. He has a bit of an injury doubt, unfortunately, which is a big blow. So he was nursing a bit of a groin injury against Airdrie, and as McGlynn even said, probably should have came off, but Cole didn't want to come off. So there's a bit of a doubt with him. He's not been ruled out yet, so we just don't know at this stage. I have to say, Burns, that if he is ruled out, that's a huge blow, because when you look through this squad and you look for those people that have maybe got the experience of coming to Celtic Park and dealing with that hostile atmosphere, there's no many players in this team that have done that. I know that there's Calvin Miller, but that he doesn't count because he played for Celtic. He's not getting impacted by the atmosphere in a negative context. Cole playing would be huge. Not only is our captain, but as I say, he's experienced this atmosphere before. In terms of Tom Lang, apparently he is still 3 weeks away from full fitness, but as McGlynn said in his interview as well, he's been getting told that for months, just like we have. Who knows when he's going to be back? Hopefully soon. Nothing to report on Nesbitt so far, and likewise nothing on Callum Morrison. But again, just to address, I've seen a lot of comments and speculation about what's going on with Callum Morrison on social media. Whilst the situation is strange that we haven't had any updates, there must be something going on. I don't want to spend any time speculating on this. I just want to give the boy all my best wishes, and I hope that he's back as soon as possible. I love the boy, that's why he's up on the wall. Love the guy. I just want to see him back playing football. I don't know what's going on, but I just hope everything's alright, and we'll find out something when there's something for us to be told, really. In terms of how we approach this game, that's going to be a big question in terms of the Falkirk question. So, do we go with the same system? Do we go with a more rigid version of the same system? Do we still play out from the back? Like these are questions that I'm sure McGlynn will be thinking about all of this week, because how do you approach this game? If we play our normal, natural game, we risk being too open and getting cut to shreds by Celtic. But the flip side of that is that if we go into this trying to be overly defensive, like Hearts did last weekend, and who were absolutely pish, by the way, if we go into this game playing really, really defensive, it's not our natural game. We're not going to be comfortable with it. And we're probably still going to end up getting torn apart anyway, because we'd be camping outside our own box. And you know that way when it's just a matter of time. And you see Celtic, they score so many long-range goals, especially Callum McGregor. You don't want to give him any space to hit a long-range shot, because he's no shy. So there's some good propositions, good tactical decisions that McGlynn will need to make going into this game. It'll be interesting to see how we line up. In terms of the back four, I've already mentioned about Cole possibly being out. If that's the case, then Graham might start, and then Hendo might shuffle along to the right side, because look, Graham is a left-sided defender, and then you'll still have Saki on the left and then Adams on the right. What a test this will be for him, by the way. This is a guy that was playing junior football less than a year ago, and he's going to the most hostile atmosphere in Scotland. Will be interesting to see how he handles it. I've got a funny feeling he'll play really well tomorrow. I don't have any doubt about that. The boy is different gravy, man. Different gravy, different class. I don't know. We'll go with it. In terms of a bit further up the pitch, though, this is where things get interesting, because we all can. It's going to be Spencer, it's going to be Tate in midfield. It's guaranteed, unless something happens, touch wood, that's who will be in midfield. It's a guaranteed certainty. But when we start looking at the front players, that's where things get a bit more interesting. It's almost certainly going to be Gary Oliver playing in the number 10 role. But then who are we playing on the left and the right? Because in all likelihood we can assume that Celtic will probably start Tony Ralston, who, this seems harsh saying this, but he is their weak link. Whilst I don't think he's a bad player, I do think that if he plays, that's the side that we're going to want to target. So it's going to be, for me, it's going to be, if we're going to get any joy out of this game, it's going to be crucial who we play on the left wing. And who would you go with on that side of things? Are we going with Miller or would we go with Ethan Ross? It's a really, really difficult question because you could make arguments for either one of them starting alongside Alfie playing on the right, who he's been absolutely phenomenal the last few weeks. I don't think there's any argument for Alfie no playing. He has to start this game. So it's really down to who misses out between Ross and Miller. Now for me, I feel like Miller's maybe got just the wee bit of edge here because you've got the added incentive of this is his former team, and not only his former team but also his former gaffer as well. He will be so raring to go to prove a point against Celtic, and for me that maybe gives him just that wee bit of an edge over Ethan Ross, who will feel very, very hard done by to not start tomorrow. But you would be confident if he came off the bench. Maybe Ralston's tiring by that point and it's like 70 minutes. Who knows, maybe the game's still in the balance at that point. His directness, you never know, that could give us some joy. So that's what I think will happen. And then, of course, you've got Ross McKeever up front. No surprise there. On to the Celtic side of things. So I watched Rodgers' press conference, which was really good. It was about 20 minutes long. You can get it on YouTube easily enough. He was very complimentary towards McGlynn and also Falkirk in general as well. And sometimes I think that it runs a fine line when Old Firm managers and sometimes even just their players and the fans as well, when they praise teams of our stature, where it can come off as a bit disingenuous or condescending or patronising. I didn't really get that sense with Rodgers at all. To be fair though, he's a good manager. He's not going to say anything that's going to have an article pinned up on the dressing room wall. He's too clever for that. But you could see that there's a genuine excitement about this game, and that him and McGlynn are good pals. And that's one thing I wanted to say as well, and I've been trying to think of the best way of saying this without it sounding the wrong way and people taking what I'm about to say out of context. But when you think of the way that we play, and the way that we press teams, and the way that we strangle the life out of teams, and how we swarm over teams, it's no unlike the way Celtic do it. Now, look, I'm not saying for 1 second we're anywhere near Celtic's level. I'm not. But I'm saying that in terms of the style that we play, playing out for the back, being aggressive in our press, it's not a million miles away from what Celtic do. Of course, Celtic have got far, far better players than what we do. But you can see, the point I'm trying to make here is you can see that McGlynn learned a lot when he was at Celtic, and it's absolutely stayed us. It's done really, really well for us. Philosophy's been fantastic. Now, I watched Celtic's most recent game as well against Slovan Bratislava, and they absolutely laid the smackdown on their candy asses. They got absolutely pumped in that game. And one thing that stood out as well is that Bratislava, they did try to play out for the back, and Celtic were just all over them like a rash. And that's the thing that worries me a wee bit going into this game, is how brave are we going to be? How are we going to cope with that press? Because Celtic are just so good at suffocating and strangling the life out of teams by swarming them, because you've then got a situation where you try and play the ball short and you risk giving the ball away in an extremely dangerous situation, or you then revert to just punting the ball up the pitch and then probably losing the ball, and then that's another wave coming back at you as well. It's going to be really interesting to see how we cope with that. Are we still going to stick to playing out from the back? If we do, then Brad Spencer is really going to need to be switched on, because he's going to be the outball. He's going to be the one that we're looking to, because he's always so calm in these situations, Brad Spencer. He will be pivotal to any sort of success that we get tomorrow. He will need to have the best game he's had in a Falkirk shirt, and he's had some pretty good games so far, let me tell you, but that'll need to be the best game that he's played if we're going to get any joy out of this, because we're going to absolutely need him to be able to take the ball in really, really difficult circumstances with maybe two players around him, and he'll need to turn and get rid of the ball and play it out wide for Miller or Ross, whoever's there. So the important thing is we've got to stay brave going into this game, and we can't just let the heats go and start punting the ball all the time, because it's just going to come right back at us again. In terms of the Celtics side as well, in all likelihood they're going to rest a few players, but when we talk about Celtic fringe players playing, it's really just an expression at this point. Celtic don't have fringe players. They just have players that maybe don't play quite as much as the other ones, but they're still all quality. In terms of the types of players I think are going to start, I would expect pretty much all the subs that Celtic brought on against Bratislava to start. So the likes of James Forrest, Tony Ralston, Ida, Bernardo and Trusty. I would expect all of them to start, maybe a couple others as well. But even then, that just shows you the type of quality and depth that they've got. I mean, I've not even mentioned Luke McGowan or their new player, Arne Engels, as well. He might well start because you'd imagine Rodgers wants to get him up to speed and keep playing him. Who knows? But my God, that is strength and depth. They have a fantastic squad. The other thing I want to discuss as well is really just what is our mindset, Bairns? How are we all feeling going into this game? What should we be thinking about this? For me, we have earned the right to be in this match tomorrow. We beat Dundee United and then we beat Hearts when nobody gave us a prayer. Hi Ewan Cameron, hope you're doing well. But it's a huge occasion and one that the players should absolutely relish and go out there and actually enjoy themselves. Like, there's no pressure, there's no expectation from our side of things. If we can somehow pull off a miraculous cup upset and win, then fan-fucking-tastic. I'm here for it all day long, and I will go to work on Monday morning with the worst hangover of all time, and I will do it with a smile on my face. But there's no expectation of that. Even if I've maybe spent all this weekend dying in my bed watching highlights of the 97 Cup win and then beating them on penalties in 2007, I'm not torturing myself with it, honestly, I'm not. But there's no expectation. We're all just so proud of this team that they've even gotten as far as they have, because what an achievement it'll be. And we stand to earn around 250 grand from this game alone. And that's not to be sniffed at our level. When you think about the fact that we were running a £400,000 loss every year in League One, and we are able to pick up that kind of money from one match, even if it's a match that we are expected to lose, you're not going to say no to that. Why? We're not in a position to say no to money like that. The important thing, though, really is, if we do go on to lose this game tomorrow, which, again, I really hope doesn't happen, but let's just say that if we do go on to lose this game and we do take a bit of a beating, what I really want to just make sure is out there for the players as well is that don't let your heads go down for this. This is a fantastic Celtic team. There's no shame in going there, and if we do end up getting turned over, we will not be the last team to go to Celtic Park and that happen. We cannot allow a defeat against Celtic tomorrow to derail the season. We need to just dust ourselves down and then look forward to Wraith Rovers and then get back to winning ways. We've seen it with Morton last season. They were on the run of their lives, and then they played Hearts in the Cup, got a bit of a paste in that night, and then they just looked miles off it for the rest of the season. They went from looking in all likelihood like getting a playoff spot to just being absolutely nowhere. We cannot allow that to happen. Even if we lose tomorrow, we are still a fantastic side. And again, there's no shame in losing to this Celtic team. They will give a few bleach-ins this season. And in fact, when you look at how good they are, I don't see them losing very many games, if any, to be perfectly honest. Not domestically anyway. This is as big a test as it gets. And again, I just want to reiterate that to the players that go out and enjoy yourselves and experience the atmosphere. And we'll be behind you for 90 minutes, no matter what. We'll keep singing. We'll still clap yous off the park. Yous can't disappoint us and yous can't let us down. We're all so proud of how far yous have gotten already. We know special things are happening at this club. Keep going and don't let tomorrow define your season if it doesn't go the way that we're all hoping for. In terms of what I think's going to happen, look, I'm not going to say a prediction where I think we're going to lose. I'm not going to say that. I'd be stupid to say it's no on the cards. Of course it is. But I'm always going to back my team, and I'm going to go with a sneaky 1-0 win where we have to defend for our absolute lives for the majority of the match. but I'm going to go for a 1-0 win and Celtic get like 3 goals disallowed and hit the post and the crossbar. You know, the usual sort of stuff that happens when you sneak the 1-0 win against the odds. That's what I expect is going to happen. But what do you think? Anybody that's still watching up until this point, let me know what you think in the comments section below, and also please don't forget to like, subscribe, and also share the video with any other bairns that are maybe not aware of the channel yet. We're always trying to grow, and the dream is to eventually get to 1,876 subscribers. Still a way off there, by the way, but that's the dream, and hopefully we can get there. In terms of this video, it's not going to be all fancy edited or that, because as I say, I'm still dying troops. But I just wanted to get this video uploaded and get my thoughts out there, and hopefully I can engage with some of you in the comments below. If I see you tomorrow, be sure to say hello to me, and hope we all have a fantastic Sunday. Anyway, come on the Bairns. Take care. Bye bye.